Hi Francesca and Greg. I'm not going to be able to come in the meeting on Friday, so I want to explain you some of the results that I have here. This is from UMass. These are from freshmen of 2006. Initially I did some frequency tables and descriptive statistics. As you can see, the retention was 76% for the first year, and then the graduation rate is 46.2%. However, I still don't have the data if any of the students graduated in this year, in May of 2012. So I think that this is going to increase it a little bit, maybe up to 52-53%. Depends how many students they graduate in May of 2012. This is a 6-year graduation rate. Then I did some basic stats for high school GPA, SAT Math, Accuplacer and Accuplacer Calculus. The average high school GPA is almost 3. The average SAT Math is 524. The Algebra Accuplacer was 80.2 and the Calculus 53. And then I start doing some of the t-tests, and I focus to see if there's any difference between the means for high school GPA, SAT Math, Accuplacer Algebra and Accuplacer Calculus. This is for students that they graduate. So basically I compare the students that they graduate versus the students that they didn't graduate, at least yet. So it is clear that the mean for the students that they graduate for the high school GPA is 3.14 versus 2.86. The SAT Math, it was around 18 points more for of course students that they graduate. The Accuplacer around 10 points, and the same thing around 11 points the Accuplacer Calculus. So I proctored the tests, and in every case all the factors were significant, meaning that for the students that they graduate in 6 years, they had higher high school GPA, higher SAT, higher Algebra Accuplacer test, and higher Calculus Accuplacer test. In all the cases the p-value was 0, less than 0.05. I use alpha as 0.05. As a result, the students that they graduate within 6 years have on average higher high school GPA, SAT score, Accuplacer Algebra and Accuplacer Calculus. Then I did some correlations between SAT, Math, Accuplacer Algebra, high school GPA and cumulative GPA from the university, and I found out that the highest correlation was between Accuplacer Algebra and SAT Math. It was 0.64 and statistically significant. The other 4 also correlations were statistically significant. If you see there's a star, 2 stars next to the number, if they have the 2 stars, that indicates that they were statistically significant. The only correlation that was not statistically significant, it was between the cumulative GPA and the SAT Math. But again, correlation does not mean necessarily causation. The next step, I create a regression model for the GPA based on the high school GPA, GPA for the university GPA, based on the high school GPA, Accuplacer Algebra and SAT Math. And I use stepwise regression, and from here it seems that the best indicator, the best predictor for UMass GPA is the high school GPA. And if we have to add another variable, that's supposed to be the Accuplacer Algebra score. And actually the SAT Math is not a good predictor at all. Actually I think it was in one point a negative predictor. So from here the best predictor is the high school GPA. But again, even if you add the Accuplacer test, the R, as you can see, goes slightly up from 0.31 to 0.32, 0.315 to 0.32. And as you can see, the F goes down. Again, it's significant, but it goes from 168 to 87 to 59. 59 is when we use also the SAT math as a third predictor. The last thing that I did, and still I have a lot of things to do, is a chi-square test for remedial course, which is basic algebra and retention. And in this case, after I was doing the chi-square test, it was proven that the two variables are independent based on the chi-square test. So the fact that the students take Math 100 does not necessarily mean that it's going to be related with the retention. So the two variables, retention and remedial course in algebra, are independent. So my next step is to continue with the logistic regression, but I have to manipulate the data because I couldn't get it. So I may have to eliminate some of the data and then to examine some other variables that I will send you during the summer.